What's going on, everyone? My name's Blaze, and this is episode 4 of my Year 2 operator guides for Rainbow Six Siege. Today we're going to be covering Buck. Buck's full name is Sebastian Cote, and he is 37 years of age. As a Montreal native, Sebastian always wanted to lead an unconventional life. He enrolled in the Canadian Armed Forces via the regular officer training plan, which allowed him to attend university and obtain a degree in criminology. After graduation, he became an MP in the Canadian Army. After excelling in his role, he was invited by the Canadian military to re-up and become a member of the JTF2. Highly pragmatic, Cote will always take the shortest distance between 2 points, hence the integration of Buck's master key. He enjoys simple mechanical devices, opposed to the more high-tech arsenal employed by other members of Team Rainbow. As for his loadout, his primary weapons consist of the C8 SFW assault rifle, and also the Kammer's marksman rifle. Buck only has the availability of one sidearm, which is the MK1 9mm, and it is a very reliable pistol. As for the proper choice of Buck's primary weapon, I find this operator to be very situational in which primary weapon is to be chosen. In close to medium range engagements, the C8 will excel. Being able to dump out 38 damage per shot with a fire rate of 837 rounds per minute is definitely lethal in a close range engagement. As for those more mid to long range engagements, the Kammer's really shines with an ACOG and a muzzle brake to reduce the weapon's kick and to pick people off at a very long distance. As for your first gadget, you have a choice of stun grenades and frag grenades. I find frags to be much more versatile, and with operators like Ash now having flashbangs, I don't find them as useful for operators like Buck. I opt for the frag grenade to take out things like barbed wire or opponents hiding in tough to reach corners. However, take what's more suited for your playstyle. As for his operator-specific gadget, he has the use of the skeleton key. The skeleton key is an underbarrel shotgun attachment on his primary weapon, whether that be the Kammer's or the C8, and this shotgun has the highest penetration out of any shotgun in the game. It allows Buck to open up walls, floors, and access routes that he wasn't able to prior. It can also be used for quick cleanup if an enemy gets close quarters with you. Buck's primary role as an attacker is to open up lines of sight for his team that create an advantage for your team while also instilling fear and stress onto your opponents. Being a pinpoint operator on an objective trying to defend it, when a Buck is above you shooting down and opening up the floor, leaving you almost fully exposed is very difficult. Having Buck take advantage of this is key to winning those rounds for your team. Even though Buck's primary weapons have very high killing potential, you could still come out of a round very successful in helping your team win regardless of getting kills or not, as long as you're applying that pressure from above. Buck can more often than not be a very situational operator, so I recommend that you only take Buck out on maps and scenarios where you are able to take advantage of soft walls in the game. If you choose Buck on an objective where your opponent has reinforced all the walls and the hatches in the room and you can't shoot through the floor or through the ceiling to cause any type of distress, then your gadget becomes a lot less useful than it was previously. Buck is an operator that partners very well with Fuse. You'll find that if you have a Buck and a Fuse both raining down terror on top of an enemy team, that 9 times out of 10 that enemy team will have to flee the objective or scatter very sporadically, which is a segue for a perfect opportunity for your teammates to pick off multiple opponents. Another very high skill tactic that is used by a lot of Buck players up in the pro leagues is to be able to destroy mutes, jammers, and bandits batteries from the floor below to help your teammate breach onto certain objectives. Buck is an operator that is rewarded by a keen sense of map awareness. Knowing where to place those skeleton key shots through the floor or ceiling to take out things like batteries and mute charges can completely flip around into your team's favor on offense, allowing them to breach into either an objective or a line of sight that the enemy team didn't want to allow. Buck is a very versatile operator in that he can be a slayer and a support role for his team. Being 2 armor and 2 speed makes him versatile with his movement and being able to take some damage, alongside with being able to pressure enemies from above and below and create lines of sight for his team. He also has 2 very strong primary assault rifles that can deal very heavy damage in the right hands. The C8, Buck's fully automatic assault rifle, has one of the most unpredictable recoil patterns of any of the primary weapons for the attacking team. It is not an easy weapon to master the recoil with, and I would recommend that you stay away from ACOG sight until you understand the weapon much better. I prefer things like holographic red dot or reflex depending on whatever your preference is. On the other hand, the Cammers is a much easier weapon to learn as long as you don't spam the trigger when shooting at opponents and you learn to control that moderate recoil, then you should do fine with it. As for Buck's overall operator rating, he'll be receiving a 8 out of 10 as a Slayer, an 8 out of 10 as a support operator, and a 6 out of 10 for difficulty level. Buck receives an 8 out of 10 as a Slayer operator because he is equipped with 2 very strong primary weapons, both of which have an underslung shotgun attached to them for dealing with people at very close range. It's rare that you'll find yourself in a situation or a gunfight where you will need more than your full primary clip and your master key to take out an opponent, unless you're dealing with multiple opponents. Also, Buck has 2 frag grenades in his arsenal, allowing for a very heavy damage output. He receives an 8 out of 10 as a support operator, because although he can open up the objective very easily for his team and help apply pressure to the defensive squad, he does take a relatively decent amount of map knowledge to master, and more novice players won't be able to make as much use out of the master key if they don't fully understand the lines of sight that can be created on certain maps in specific areas. Buck will be receiving a 6 out of 10 for difficulty level, because neither of his weapons are relatively easy to master. Not to say that they're very difficult, but they aren't weapons that you can just pick up and instantly recognize a feel of, unless you've played multiple hours with this operator. And on top of this, I believe that people rely very heavily on the master key to try and take out enemies that are 2 or 3 armor, and it doesn't always finish off an enemy, most of the time resulting in the death of that Buck. Overall, Sebastian is a very versatile operator that is great at dealing with his opponents, both tactically and head-on, as well as helping his team apply heavy pressure to the defensive squad. That's gonna wrap up today's episode. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this style of video, or if you want to see more in the future. Also guys, check out the top right of your screen. Click on that little icon to vote for who you want to see on the next episode of this series. And check out the other episodes while you're at it. As always, I'll see all of you beautiful faces later. Peace!